today we are talking Rich Paul and his Klutch Sports agency and how LeBron James is actually running the show.
Damn right.
I don't know if you guys have heard, but Klutch Sports Agency is one of the biggest agencies in the world currently.
Most powerful.
Who is ran by Rich Paul, who is not only LeBron James' best friend, but he's also his biggest client. Miss Radley, why don't you give us a little rundown about who Rich Paul is and kind of how he started?
Yeah, he came from a background that most, poverty people see. He got out and got to college and did what he was supposed to do. But, yeah, he was selling jerseys out of the back of his car and just so happened at the airport runs into LeBron James selling some of LeBron James' actual jerseys. And LeBron gives this guy a shot for whatever reason. I guess he's seen potential or whatever it may be in the guy. And he became his personal assistant.
Glorified personal assistant.
For an alleged amount of $50,000 a year.
$50,000 a year, that's pretty good to be an assistant.
That you seen out in a parking lot selling jerseys, selling your jersey. You go in, you pick this guy, and you're like, we're going to be best friends. You're going to open a sports agency, and I'm going to run this show. Just a little more background on him. There's actually a rule in the NCAA most people don't know. It's called the Rich Paul rule. It was set back just last year in 2019. But basically what it is where introduced in 2019, for now on, sports agents who are trying to represent players in the NCAA who are going to approach the NBA draft and go into the NBA draft and all that stuff have to have at least a bachelor's degree. Rich Paul didn't have a bachelor's degree, T-Ball, and he's a sports agent? Didn't even graduate college, but
I guess you don't need all that when you have LeBron James backing you financially.
A lot of people were complaining before the Rich Paul rule came into effect that this guy and other agents that didn't even have a degree in what they were trying to do, be an agent, are going out here and using big name people that they know, like LeBron James, to influence these kids to come sign with their sports agencies and things like that and get their influence and swing them to different teams and different things. And they were like, no, this is unfair for the NCAA. That's not how we run shit.
So
we
is it actually called the Rich Paul Rule?
The Rich Paul Rule 2019. Don't believe me? Look it up.
Well, it's crazy because, like you said, you have this guy who's Rich Paul, who you meet at an airport, who's selling jerseys. He happens to be selling your jersey. You hit him up, and you're like, hey, let me buy these jerseys. And then you guys become friends, and you hire him as a personal assistant. And then next thing you know, he's running one of the biggest companies, sports agencies in the world. Like I said, Klutch Sports handles other NBA players, 30, I think, players total as far as professional athletes go. Players like Ben Simmons, Anthony Davis, Draymond Green, John Wall, Montrezl Harris, who just won Sixth Man of the Year,
and signed with them,
who just went to the Lakers from the Clippers.
That's right.
Others like Trae Young and more. Lonzo Ball even just made the move over there. A lot of big names are over at this organization, which in turn, this is concerning because an agent or agency this powerful can control a lot of the movements around the league. That's been a big issue with Rich Paul, especially, like you said, somebody who has no background in sports, didn't go to school for sports, just happened to have a friend, got financially, acquainted with him, opened this business, and now you're claiming that
LeBron doesn't make a single decision.
You run this, and that you are the guy who is running the show, and it just doesn't seem that way. Now, we had an article that I read. It said to say they operate only in LeBron's favor is asinine. I'm asking how. How is it asinine? Because that's exactly what seems to be happening. The same article said that this can't be possible because no one else would sign with that agency.
Why not?
Well, guess what, folks? What happens when these players are already have been signed? You think they're going to leave just because, things are going LeBron's way? Would you leave the biggest sports agency in the world just because LeBron's getting everything going his way? As long as you got your money. When it comes to, the Lakers just upgraded 3 spots. Schroeder from Caldwell Pope, Wesley Matthews for Danny Green, and Harrell for Howard, who just went to the 76ers.
Just across
the way. A lot of that comes from, some of these are bird right moves, and a lot of these are guys who are signed with Klutch Sports Agency. That seems to be a huge advantage for not only LeBron James, but for whatever team LeBron James is on. Now, the bird rights, I don't know if people know what bird rights, but a big example of, yet again, how the NBA is flawed.
Yeah.
So in my eyes, this is what bird rights are.
It's like a tax loophole.
It's basically allowing teams to go over the NBA's so-called salary cap because their players have been with this or that team for a year or more.
Consecutive years.
So why even have a cap? Yet Klutch Sports claims they've done nothing wrong or nothing that they've done is illegal. They're what they call themselves, the Loophole Kings. That is a direct quote from Rich Paul himself. It just seems to me like this is extortion. So extortion is going on. If you have the best players or players in the league, you can simply say or go to these organizations and go, if your organization doesn't do this for one of my clients or helps us transition this move for one of my clients, then none of my other 29 to however many clients are going to be willing to work with you in the future. Now think about that. I run the biggest names in the league, and if you don't
do what I say or what they want,
yes, or do the things that LeBron James says he needs, because LeBron James, if you look at the Lakers right now, their bench five could be the top teams in the league.
I wouldn't say top teams, but I'm saying some pretty, at least the bottom tiers.
They'd be a contender, I guarantee.
They're better than most teams for sure.
I mean, and it's known that LBJ helped and had a hand in negotiating a lot of these.
You're not going to tell me he doesn't.
This is proof right here. It is well known, that he negotiated the 5-year, $82 million for Tristan Thompson. Well known that he negotiated the 4-year, $57 million for J.R. Smith, and also helped poach AD from the Pelicans.
Right.
LeBron doesn't stack. People just want to play with him. Bullshit. When you have all these players in the same agency and going, hey, let's get together, let's do this. We found loopholes. We found ways of beating the cap. Don't worry about the money. You'll still get paid. Just come over here and play. We'll win chips.
Here's the loophole.
Let's destroy the league. Let's wash the league out of existence.
Right. There's plenty of times we've seen it throughout the season where you've seen LeBron or other big-known people in his organization going, if you don't do this for us right now, then we're not going to play. Or if you don't pay us this amount, we're not going to play. Don't trade me. I ain't going to play.
The problem is that the league has lost all control.
Yeah, it's all in LeBron. LeBron has all the control in the NBA. If anybody, that's not a true statement. That's crazy.
Here's how it goes. You have Rich Paul, who has the biggest sports agency with the biggest players running the league.
Yeah.
And basically what's happening is LeBron James is this quote-unquote silent partner. LeBron James sits there and goes up to these players and these teams and basically tells Rich Paul how it needs to be said. And then Rich Paul goes to these people and goes, blah, 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 blah. And then, like I said, there's been many instances where LeBron James has directly himself made the negotiations. Because another point to point out is people are also mad at Klutch Sports for holding a pro day for new players, Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Maxey, on ESPN. Klutch Sports actually bought airtime.
Wow.
From ESPN to have a pro day.
Not them, but LeBron did for them.
LeBron did, yes. Because guess who was in attendance? Rich Paul wasn't there. Rich Paul wasn't at this event. It was LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Trae Young, Quavo. Why are a bunch of rappers there?
All Klutch Sports.
A bunch of others, which a lot of agencies did not like this. Why? Because LeBron James is acting as a representative to these players, and LeBron James is doing the recruiting.
Yeah.
In the state of California, it's illegal to be a player and be licensed to represent a talent or represent talent at all. To go to these places, and so you got all these high caliber players and rappers and these famous people coming up to new recruits and basically convincing them to sign with Klutch Sports, and then going, if you sign with Klutch Sports, not only will you be a part of the biggest agency, you're going to get your money, but you're going to be able to run to any team you want. We can stack up. You can come play with me and my Lakers, and we can win chips for however many years you do it.
And if they don't listen to you, we'll go, hang on, we'll get LeBron to go voice it for you and say some shit to scare the shit out of the league, and the league's going to go, okay, LeBron. It's just like Tom Brady in the NFL. Whatever Tom Brady says, goes.
Well, to get to that, and this is going all the way back to AAU. LeBron James and these
And
people
Rich
that I
Paul.
just named are going and looking at basically high school kids who are playing AAU basketball and go, hey, when we're showing up to your games, you come sign with Klutch Sports. This has to be extortion. This is illegal.
It's got to be illegal for
but
sure.
They're saying
Illegal
because
recruiting.
it's through Rich Paul, a quote accordingly, because LeBron
yeah.
James is a silent partner, and we all know it. But because Rich Paul's doing the dealings, he doesn't have to uphold to any of the league's rules. This is the loophole I'm talking about. He doesn't have, because they don't apply to him and his agency. It just applies to his players.
Yeah.
So he can make all the moves he wants while LeBron James whispers in his ear, and this is apparently legal. And apparently the league has done nothing about this because this could potentially cost players a lot of money, their careers, millions of dollars, but the league just looks the other way.
Yeah, because think about this. All the deals so far of the 20-plus NBA players that Rich Paul does manage has been close to $1 billion in revenue of deals that have been struck.
You got
like
a man
5
out here
years,
doing $170 million deals, generating $1 billion for his players, and this man never even got a bachelor's degree. Stars aligned for this man, and now he's the biggest sports agent in the world, and you're telling me that LeBron James is not in his ear? What does he know about the sports agency?
Get this.
More than what LeBron knows.
And get this. Guess how old he is? He's 38. LeBron's what, 35, 36, whatever it is? So he's 3 years older than LeBron. LeBron knows the NBA. I'll give LeBron that. He knows the NBA. He's a great NBA player. I know we haven't said it yet, but yes, he is. He's a great NBA player. We're not denying that. So don't even come there with that on the comments. How in the world does a guy that's 3 years older than you know more about the league, has done more in the league, if you haven't even graduated college in my eyes? How do you know anything at all about the NBA? You don't.
How are you able to get licensed?
You don't. LeBron James has helped you in every step of your way. Now he runs the NBA. Now you guys have literally illegally, I know it's got to be illegal to form this agency and run leagues. This would not happen in the NFL or the NHL or the MLB.
I mean, because
no other league.
Because there's no salary cap in the MLB, and the other leagues that have salary caps abide to the salary cap.
That's right. What's the point of a fucking salary cap if you can go break it because of a bird rule?
I mentioned it a million times, and this is just more proof to how the league is losing control and how...
And losing ratings.
And going back to what you had mentioned earlier, the NBA Players Association, meaning the players, got together this year and they go, you know what? Get caught up with the next season because we lost so many, games last year. He goes, we're going to play 72 games this year, but you're going to pay us on an 82-game season. Plus playoffs, everything like that as well.
Playoffs shortened too then, you
and
pussies?
it happened.
That's
it
what
went through. We go back to another mentioning of a man on ESPN First Take saying that LeBron James has ruined the game of basketball by making these teams. Now he's created this agency to help him ensure that these teams get together.
LeBron didn't make all those teams.
Is he smart? Is he smart for doing it? Yeah. Are you noble for doing it? Hell fucking no.
What's the challenge then?
Why don't we just make 2 all-star teams and let them play 82 games against each other?
It's ridiculous.
LeBron
runs the fucking league. If you think that's asinine, you're asinine.
And I think it's unfair. And if you think I'm stupid for calling it unfair or I'm a baby for calling it unfair...
Well, life's not fair, T-Ball.
Well, would I do it if I could? I probably wouldn't because I'd want to go against the other greats. I want to be like, I beat Anthony Davis. I beat this person. I beat anybody who's in this league that's considered good. I beat them. Not
with a stacked team. Not with... every teammate you can possibly have to have the statistical advantage.
What this is going to lead to? This is going to lead to, oh, well, look at everybody else's in LeBron James league. Nobody compares to him. And it's like, well, you can't because half the people didn't play against him who were worth a damn. They played with him.
Right.
So they never got a chance to prove that they're any better than LeBron.
Nobody has.
The glorified role player is now the greatest player of all time in these people's eyes, and it just doesn't make any sense.
That's a great point, actually.
Is it fair that he's doing this to run the league? No, it's not. Is there anything we can do about it? No.
Apparently
is it
not.
bullshit? Yes, 100%. Like we said, it's ruining the game of basketball. Why do we want to see all the good players on one team, especially in an organization that's won it almost more times than any other organization that lives? And you're calling this guy who's
the GOAT, right?
basically paving his own path, the greatest of all time. Is he the greatest of all time for creating his own path? I mean, I guess if you're riding the coattails of other people as well, if you call that greatness, I don't. I think this just more tarnishment of the game, more unfair to the other players in the league. If I was the other players in the league, I'd be heated. If I was the other agencies, I'd be heated. They're basically becoming a monopoly. Congratulations to, Klutch Sports and them for being successful and, finding the loophole and being the loophole king. But it's bad for basketball, especially when you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing anyways. High school kids, college kids aren't supposed to be talking to recruits, and they're not. They're talking to LeBron James and his people.
Yeah,
it's the same fucking thing.
Them.
You're speaking on behalf of Rich Paul, or Rich Paul speaks on behalf of LeBron James. Either way, LeBron James is a silent partner in this, and it's getting out of hand. It really is.
Right. My last thing on this real quick is, did everybody forget? Okay, everybody's praising LeBron. He's the greatest in basketball because he won his 4th championship, right? I mean, all those chances he's won. Congratulations. Well, the only way he done that is by stacking his team, by using his advantages with that sports agency like we've been talking about this whole segment. Because 2 years ago, guys, his first year there with the Lakers, I thought he was the GOAT. I thought he was the fucking GOAT, right? Why were they 37-45 then, his first year? And then what do you have to go do?
He washed everybody out and brought all new people back in.
Danny Green, DeMarcus Cousins, JaVale McGee, Rajon Rondo, J.R. Smith. Tell me those aren't good players. Everybody will go, those are old guys. No, they're old veterans.
I think the only player they kept was, what's his name, Kuzma?
I think so.
And now they're getting ready to get rid of him.
But I just think it's funny that there's always support. No matter what he does, he never fails. He's the greatest of all time.
He can never do wrong.
No, and it's all hidden behind loopholes and crazy bullshit like that. Like, you weren't good 2 years ago.
I don't understand why anybody want to watch this. Unless you're, obviously a Lakers fan. Like, yeah, this is the greatest thing for a Lakers fan.
4 good teams out there.
But all the other people in the league, like, yeah, you're a LeBron James fan, but do you like whatever team LeBron James is on? Because that's stupid. So you're a LeBron James fan, but your favorite team is the Clippers, why would you want to see LeBron James do what he's doing? That's what the whole point of this is for. Like, this is obviously an unfair advantage that's been a loophole that's backed by lots and lots of money, by lots and lots of very good players.
I don't think it's an unfair advantage. There's no challenge to the game anymore if you do this. If you go and stack your team, get whoever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, because he does get other players to different places, so guess what? They're not even on my schedule this year, so I don't have to play good talent. He's strategically doing this and moving players where they want to go, his friends and everybody in Klutch Sports agency that's represented by them and stuff like that, and then also getting all the baller players with him. And where's the competition? Where's the challenge? Who wants to play in an NBA league where there's there's 4 good teams. We all know there's 4 teams that are going to make the semifinals, and who knows between those? Well, it's probably LeBron's team because he has all the big guys.
Yeah, this is not politics. Politics will ruin the game, just like with football. You bring politics into football, look what happened.
Yeah.
It's starting to ruin the game.
Yeah.
Same thing with the NBA. When these guys start going, oh, if you don't compromise to our will, we just won't play. Well, you're not affecting the league. You're affecting the people who watch you.
Right, we are your people who pay your salaries.
Back when Michael Jordan was in the league,
my man,
Michael Jordan was called the GOAT, the greatest basketball player of all time. There was never an argument. Never an argument. Somebody goes, who's the best even if you didn't know, who's a basketball player, a woman, or somebody who never followed basketball ever. Go, who's the best basketball player in the world? Michael Jordan? They don't even know, but that's the name they get.
Ding, 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 ding.
And there's never this argument. But yet, LeBron James is the next person to be called the greatest of all time. There's this argument, constant argument. If he's the greatest of all time,
LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
Then why is there this argument? Oh, well, there's always going to be an argument as long as someone's called the greatest of all time. Well, Bill Russell was called the greatest of all time, and then Michael Jordan came in, and now he's the greatest of all time. Or Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, they were considered the greatest of all time. Michael Jordan took that over. Nobody was sitting there arguing, like, nope, Kareem's still the greatest. Nope, Wilt's still the greatest. Nobody was arguing that.
Nobody.
But
Zilch.
now, why is it so heavily argued if LeBron James? Why do so many people hate him, and so many people loved MJ? Everybody loves MJ. Everybody hates LeBron.
Right.
Why is that? If he's such this great all-time player, then why doesn't he have more love?
Oh, he has plenty of love. What you talking about, man? Go look at his followers.
Not
Go look
the
at
love
subscribers,
like Michael
blah, blah, blah.
Jordan had.
No, nobody will ever have that. There's just not possible.
That's just weird to me.
You know why? Nobody will ever have it? Because nobody will ever beat it. Nobody will be the greatest of all time. I do not think in the next 50 years of the NBA we'll see anybody who could have ever done what MJ did. LeBron doesn't do that. Yeah, he's at a different position on the court. So what are we comparing? A small forward and a fucking shooting guard for one? No, his rings don't match up. He's not a defensive player like Jordan was. There's millions of ways to go about that, but it's just ridiculous that that's even a comparison like you're saying, because there still is no argument, because the closest thing to Jordan, Kobe. Kobe stole all of his moves and did it just like him. Not as good, obviously, but pretty fucking damn close. And even Jordan said that himself. So.
Pretty close. You know, Klutch Sports, LeBron James, let us know what you think. I know you guys have been reading about it. I know we're going to get a lot of comments on this. Again, LeBron James, great basketball player. But, again, another point proven as to why he's ruining this game of basketball that we love so much.
And
Tell
how
us
much
what you
power
think.
he has.
Don't forget to like, subscribe. Of course, I'm T-Ball.
I'm Mr. Bradley, and you stay classy, YouTube.
And thanks for stopping by.